In this video, I'm going to show you how to bypass or turn off the diesel fire pump controller so you could do your flow testing without turning on the fire pump. This is a Master Control Systems fire pump controller, and the model looks like DC-FR. It's kind of hard to see. There you go. Hopefully that gives you a good reading of the calculation plate. So it's Master Control Systems. It's a diesel fire pump. We have our dial here. So it's currently set to auto. We're just going to be setting it to off. So there's auto and off. So auto means it's automatically going to turn on when the pressure gets low. And then we're going to switch it to off so it doesn't trigger while we're doing our flow testing. So this is the fire pump here. You have your diesel tank, your fuel tank in the back. Then you have your fire pump here. So it looks like a horizontal pump. And then we have our jockey pump controller here. This is a Sylvania Clark control fire pump. And then we have our little jockey pump over here. So this is what all our flow testing is going to go through. There's this pump here. And again, so this is the fire pump from the other side. So again, we're going to be bypassing this. We don't want it to activate while we're doing our flow testing. I'm doing the alarm testing for the system, so I'm testing electronics. I'm not testing the wet system, so I'm not doing the fire pump test. I'm not doing any of the sprinkler testing stuff. We have a separate team that does that. So I'm on the alarm team. I test all alarm devices. We have a sprinkler team that tests all the sprinkler devices. So this system will be tested by a sprinkler technician or a sprinkler fitter. This client does not have my company as their contract for their sprinkler fitter side, so they have a separate company do that. So the reason why I'm going to bypass the fire pump is I don't want anything to turn on. I don't want any issues with the pump itself. I don't want the system to get over pressurized or the PSI get too high where it can pop the sprinkler head. So what we typically do is we just simply bypass the fire pump by turning off the fire pump controller. That way we have no issues. If the fire pump is running, it could overheat, it could cause an issue. Like I said, the pipes could get over pressurized, it could charge, the PSI could get too high, pop a sprinkler head. So that's all under the contract of the sprinkler technicians to do the testing on the pump. So for me, I'm just testing the electronics of the sprinkler system. So I want the flow switches and temper switches to activate and report to the fire panel. So since I don't need the fire pump to be on, I'm going to be turning it off again with the auto off feature here. And I'm going to run everything off this little jockey pump here. So this is going to be doing all of our work for our flow testing. So we're going to take note of our PSI. Looks like we're at 100 PSI. Alright. So when we come back to turn it on, we want our PSI to be back up to its original state. Otherwise, if we try to turn the pump on with the PSI low, the fire pump will turn on. So we'll have to turn it off. In which case we have a reset and stop switch up here. So your reset and your stop. We'll just have to basically stop the pump, let the jockey pump continue to fill up the pressure before we turn this pump back on. So normally when operating a fire pump controller, you want to wear an arc flash suit. I do not have one, so I'm just going to take my own risk. So we're going to open up the panel. I'm just going to kind of stand off to the side. That way if there is an arc flash or something, I'll at least be off to the side. So I'm just going to open the door. This is what the controller looks like on the inside. It's a much older controller for the diesel fire pump. And again, all we're going to do is take this knob, which is currently set to auto. and we switch it to off. Alright, so it's always going to be on auto, so when pressure drops, the pump automatically kicks on, but we're going to turn it to off, so it does not turn on. And we're not using any of the other manual retest features. We're just worried about auto and off. And the jacket pump is on, so we have the power on. We have the off and the on, so right now it's on. And then the dial has a off and fill feature. So it's the manual switch, so it's on off right now. We're not gonna automatically fill it. We're just gonna let the pressure fill up normally. So we're gonna go ahead and just turn this dial from auto to off. So again, I'm gonna stand off to the side, tilt my camera over, and we're just gonna go like that to off. So now you see it was first on auto, now it's on off. So now the pump is off. This jockey pump, or this fire pump, will not turn on for our flow testing. So we're just gonna close up our door, lock it, so they can see it's on off. Alright, so our fire pump, this big guy, is not gonna turn on now. We don't want this to turn on. We only want the little jockey pump down here to turn on, because this is what we're gonna do all our flow testing on, this little guy. So again, your sprinkler company usually is the ones responsible for doing your pump testing. I'm with the alarm company. We're just doing electronic device testing. This client has a different contractor for their pump testing and their sprinkler testing. So we're not responsible for running this pump, and we're not gonna take liability for running this pump, so we're gonna switch it off, and we're gonna run everything off our little jockey pump over here. So next part, we will do our testing. And again, this is how you switch off a Master Control Systems fire pump controller. Again, here's the little plate, and it's switched off. So now we are going to do our flow test. We're at the inspector test valve. It's gonna flow out from here. We got our turn valve here. Let's do the test. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Got a signal. All right, now we'll go check our signal. Water flow. All right, we have our jockey pump running. Little guy right here. So while the water is flowing, it is keeping pressure, and the main pump here is not on, so it does not kick on. So we have that turned off. So all the work's being done by this little jockey pump. And for a little comparison, you can kind of see, got the big pump turned off here, and we got the little guy turned on right there. So this is doing all the work for our flow testing. So this pump is staying off, not turning on. And the little pump here is what we're using everything for. So now we will finish our flow testing and turn the pump off after. See it going on. And you see it runs not too loud. The diesel pump is significantly louder. And you could see the calc plate there. Detroit Diesel Allison power tank. All right. So now we have finished our flow testing. So we're back at the fire pump, still in off. And the PSI is back to 100. Just to make sure our jockey pump is turned off. So it's done pressurizing the system. And of course, as long as the fire controller's off, this guy's not turned on. Otherwise, it would be very loud in here. So this guy's turned off. We got our pressure back up. So now we're back at the controller. So this is the master fire pump controller or master controller system. We're going to go ahead, open the door up, turn it back on. Obviously, if something were to kick on, I have my stop and reset. So I'm gonna stand off to the side, open the door. Again, I'm not wearing an arc flash suit, so I'm doing this at my own risk. So we have our gauge, and originally it was on auto. So we had it off for testing, so we're just gonna put it back to auto, and that way the pump will be back on. So I'm gonna stand to the side. Gonna turn it to auto, just like that. And nothing turned on, so that's a good sign. So back on auto. Going to show the pump inside one more time. It's an older style controller for sure. Look at all these fucking little switches in here. It's crazy. Alright, so again, this is how you turn off the diesel fire pump so you could do your flow testing. Again, I'm an alarm technician. We have a separate sprinkler team that does the pump testing. So they're the ones that come out and test the pump. I'm just testing the electronics, so the flow switches and damper switches. So we just bypass the pump to make sure that it doesn't turn on, cause any issues, doesn't overpressurize the system, or the pump heats up, ruins the packing or bearings or anything like that. So again, just for context, here we have the master fire pump controller. There's the model number, that DCFR by, keep losing my focus, by the Master Control Systems Inc. And again, always check your PSI, make sure you're back up to where you started, otherwise the pump will kick on. So again, jockey pump did all the work today. This little guy in the corner, you heard it running earlier, and we left this guy off because we don't want to run it while we're here. If we had a sprinkler team here, they would be doing all the pump testing for us. They would be running it, they would be supervising it while we do the flow testing. But again, like me, I'm just the alarm technician, so I'm testing all the alarm devices. So this client has a separate contractor for the sprinkler system, so they do it at a different time. So since they don't want to sync us up at the same time, we just bypass the pump. We run everything off the jockey pump, and we just do our little turn dial to switch it off. So you can see it's back on auto. So kind of an exhaustive process, but just kind of show how it's done just to be on the safe side. So anyway, that is how you bypass or turn off the diesel fire pump for the Master Controller Systems diesel fire pump controller.